this mic on? Mic on? Good evening. Thank you for joining us for the fourth meeting dealing with redistricting. Thank you for the audience that is listening, and seeing us by live stream. Thank you for those who are participating in the audience. Tonight we are joined by three counselors, Chairman Morant, Counselor Johnson, and Counselor Carolina. But we know that others are viewing via live stream. Next slide, please. Just last fall, we began the journey toward redistricting. I certainly can say that it has been marked by twists and turns and ups and downs as a part of that. We have had 4 maps that we have presented to the public and to council for their consideration, and we're going to have our last session tonight dealing with map 509. We received 2 other maps starting from the Office of Revenue and Fiscal Services in mid-December, and we started with map 777 and 843. Based on feedback from council, we morphed that map to map that we commonly refer to as map 843A. And then, because of public comment, we moved our process to map 509, which we will talk about more in just a few minutes. Next slide, please. So what's happened with map 509? This is our 4th meeting. This is the final meeting before the final presentation on February 8th. The folks in the audience will have the opportunity to make public comment on map 509. Next slide, please. The information that is before you is a summary of concerns that we've heard from public comment. A lot of those concerns, of course, deal with the impact to District 4 and what happens, keeping neighborhoods together, impact on the town of Andrews, and of course, one person, one vote, and dealing with standard deviation. The next 3 slides really deal with the comparison of map 509 and 843A. I think the main thing that I'd like to address first is creating the area for District 4 as minority influential, raising the minority population in District 4 from 40 to 42.29, up from 22.7, and decreasing the standard deviation from 7.13 to 5.09. I think what's important to say is, and what you don't necessarily see that's captured, is we have worked on hundreds of maps to get to this point where we are to improve the process the very best way that we can see, keeping with the goals that the council had set forward. And the other part is getting that standard deviation to the lowest point possible. So why is that important? That's important because it says that we have kept the map from being out of bounds. We have addressed and kind of put the puzzle together so that the pieces fit more neatly together. One of the challenges that you have with this is it has to pass the eye test, which means that we have not broken up so many precincts. We stayed within boundaries and stayed within the areas that were closest to other areas. Next slide, please. We heard numerous comments throughout these meetings about keeping the section and the West End together as much as possible. We couldn't move all the sections together, but we certainly tried to move as many sections of similar communities together for the West End. Next slide, please. We also made adjustments in other districts. These adjustments affected Districts 3 and District 7, not just District 4. The majority districts are in 7 and 3. They remain. Their numbers actually were lowered to try to keep the boundaries in line with what we were looking for. There are very few changes for the boundaries between Districts 5 and 7. So what happens next? And I think that's an important part of this discussion. On next Tuesday, which is February 8th, at the next regular scheduled council meeting, on the agenda is the final public hearing dealing with redistricting. We're required by law, of course, to do this, and that is on the agenda. From that public hearing, council has the opportunity to also vote, make recommendations, or make whatever decision that they desire on third reading for redistricting. In the meantime, next slide, please. The public still has the opportunity to make comments as part of the public record. You can go to our website, it's right on the front page. You can put in your public comments. Of course, you can submit things in writing and send them to us that will become a part of the record dealing with redistricting. This will be all a part of public comment that we will have for all this information. At this point, my presentation is rather brief. I will turn it over to the counselors for any statements that they would like to make at this time.
Evening. Thank you all again for coming out this evening to look at the draft that we have compiled regarding redistricting within Georgetown County. We have taken your comments into consideration in an effort to configure the particular districts. We appreciate all the comments that you all have given, and we have not taken those concerns lightly. We have tried our best to take into consideration your comments to how it would work within the county. So we appreciate the comments that you have given and your participation with this particular process. I had the opportunity to make comments tonight also, and we'll listen to you and see whether anything can be adapted accordingly. But again, we appreciate your coming out, and please pay attention to the mapping and see where we are. We'll just move forward from there. Thank you.
All right, good evening, everyone, for coming out. Very important tasks and decisions we have to make. And I echo Chairman's comments and appreciate the efforts of the administrator. This has been a somewhat of an interesting challenge in trying to balance out and meet the requirements of Department of Justice, the Voting Rights Act, maintaining districts, not breaking up districts, not changing precincts. So it's been an incredible balancing act. And I feel we've made some decisions. We've viewed numerous maps, and we'll listen to your comments tonight. And before a final decision is made on to February the 8th, we hope we are making the correct decision for the best for Georgetown County.
Good evening. Challenging is the word. We have looked at a number of scenarios in terms of what would be what we think is the best outcome for all of the residents of Georgetown. We know that we were not able to accommodate everybody's issues or concerns, but I hope you realize that we did not take this task lightly. We have worked for several months to get to this point, taking into consideration everything you have said. So at this time, we are happy to hear from you.
Good evening, Council. My name is Vincent Davis, and I'm the president of the Pawleys Island Civic Club. The things that are on our agenda tonight is two things that concerned us. We don't talk much about District 6. We don't talk much about District 2. This was where we preside at. Now, Civic Club has asked Council to present a map of where our district sits at right now, and then show us the new map where the district will be after this redistricting. It can look beautiful, but we need to simplify this enough so we are not GIS experts, where we can look at things and see for ourselves the movement of these district lines. The most important thing to the Civic Club for District 6 and District 2 is the African American vote. Did it go up on this redistricting map, or did it go down? These are very important details. We stick to the details. We like to see these maps. We like to be simplified for the people who are not GSIs so they can read it and see how it's affecting the vote, because that's the most important part. It can be all glamorous, but we need to know what our percentage of voting is, and that's my important part. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Good evening. My government name is Willie Singleton. Listening to you a few moments ago, and I'm just trying to make sure I understand exactly what was said. It appears as though you all separated the city from the railroad back, and then you jumped over and gave that to Mr. Carolina District. But then you went over that area and gave Maryville to us. I don't understand why you would separate the city of Georgetown, the black area, give half in District 4, half to Mr. Carolina, go over that area that you gave to Mr. Carolina, and then put Maryville in District 4. To me, that makes no sense. See, one thing about us, God has given us the power to, but he reserves the power of reaction, because the law is for every action there's an equal reaction. I believe in my heart that those, I heard Ms. Johnson say we, and I love hearing that. But the reason why we're so skeptical about what you all are doing is because we understand before this, there was never we. It appears as though we had 3 black districts, majority black districts. But if we be honest with ourselves, the 3 of you never worked together. Everything we saw, it was separated. So there's no reason why we should believe today that you all as a group have our best interests at heart. I remember when I had to go, I went and asked Ms. Johnson and Brother Morant, would you all please sit down with Everett and you all meet, because we don't like what's going on with you all. We need to understand, and you all need to understand, that we're not here to believe just any illusion about these maps. The way you all have these maps right now set based on y'all action, we're not going to have 2 majority black districts that represent us. We have never had the 3 of you to represent us as a whole. This is the reality of what is. We're not going to accept those that we represent, we're not going to accept the 42% the way you all have it, because it makes no sense to separate the city of Georgetown, give part to number 4, then leap over part of the city of Georgetown and put Maryville in number 4. It makes no sense. What you all are doing, and I say this in closing, our young people want to be involved in politics. But when you study what has been going on with us, and you even study the Bible, this is why it says Moses sent 12 to scope out the promised land that God offered to us. 10 of them was afraid, and only 2 of them, Joshua and Caleb, was willing to go in that land. That says that 83.4% of those that were in bondage would sell out because of fear. Go read it. You all have never represented us properly, never as a group and a whole. We are not here to accept the 42%, the way you all have it, jump over part of the city of Georgetown like that. No, we're not going to accept that like that. We don't trust you all as representing us as a whole. When Ms. Lily Jean Johnson, and this is the last thing I have to say, when she allowed that area to be cut like that, knowing that Mr. Carolina and Mr. Morant don't work together well, knowing that we would only have 1 individual representing us, that's the reality of what is. We as a people are tired of black people saying that they represent us and not representing us as a unit. And you all can ask Ms. Johnson after tonight, ask her, those of you in number 4, ask her whether they're working together as a unit. And then you all will understand why we don't trust you all when it comes to this map and that 42%. We will not have 2 districts representing us the way that map is. We'll only have 1. Thank you.
Good evening, Ebony Hughes here. I have a request. While we're having open public comments, can we have the map that you're proposing on the screen so that we can see that as we're talking?
Sure.
Usually I'm better prepared in having these maps and to be honest with you, I'm sort of thrown for a loop because I know that in the past meetings, the 3 other meetings that we had before, there was the map 777, which I had noted in the past should have been high on the list. Again, the question that I have had in the past meetings were the consideration of the NAACP map, which meets all those qualifications, the standards and things of that nature from the federal level, the census blocks that you're referring to. Do they have the map where it zooms in on the downtown section and how it separates the West End also? My concern with this particular map, which compared to last meeting to now, is a difference, but those numbers can be reached. I think it's still some more tweaking that we can do in regards to those minority influence districts there, especially in regards to Ms. Johnson's district. And I'm still trying to understand how on the West End, really the community has been cut off. And I think that we can do better when it comes down to meeting and identifying those areas. I realize that it has the history of Georgetown, and especially in the downtown area, may not be in consideration tonight, but I think that we need to strongly consider the history in the sense of in the census blocks and still staying within that parameter. There was a time that Black folks could not go on a certain street. It looks and appears as if that gap is widening and widening and widening. So when it comes down to cutting off in those areas and cutting the West End off, I think that we can tweak those things and still stay within the federal guidelines for this new map that you're proposing, which is the 509. So thank you so much for your work. I hope that you consider our comments and making those adjustments. Thank you.
My name is Jacqueline Williams, and I just wanted to speak briefly in reference to what we are saying. First, thank you all for the hard work. I know that you all are doing everything that you've put in to take under consideration what the community has been saying. For the first time, I really feel like that there is some consideration that is being given to the voice of the people. However, we're back again simply because I think we all just feel like it could be better. It can be better. In the sense that when we are looking at communities like the West End and seeing how the lines are drawn and what the inference is there in terms of representation, I think it gives everyone room to pause to ask, how can you make that better? Looking at the map, I'm just really not sure what the intention is. Because what it reflects is not necessarily the priority of the minority people that live in the city of Georgetown, or in the county, I should say, that's represented by county council. To me, when I look at the maps, it's almost as if there is a posturing for re-election. and we care about what these numbers reflect in our district. So if we have to sacrifice a district, then so be it, because, you know, we'll have 2 districts and we'll still be here. It's almost kind of like the last man standing type of situation, which never works well for the citizens of Georgetown. I am trying to speak as calmly as I possibly can, because last public comment after the meeting, I was asked, why am I so angry, by one of the county council members. And, you know, I didn't even give a comment to that, because sometimes as women, when we stand up to speak, you know, if we have passion behind our voice, it's assumed that we're angry. I'm not angry, I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed. And why I'm disappointed is because county council should be angry. They're angry enough to want to put in the work to do that which is right for the people in the community in which they say they serve. I'm not sitting on county council, I'm not angry, I'm disappointed. But I think that there should be some anger as it relates to county council. If you look, I grew up in Georgetown. I was born and raised here. I can honestly say at 53 years old, I really cannot see where county and city, where there has been much done in reference to the minority community here. I really can't see that. We're not moving forward. It looks like every year we get pushed back further and further and further and further. Brother Singleton is right. He's right in what he said. When are our leaders going to start thinking about the people that they represent? When are you all going to start thinking about the people that you say you want to represent? You hold seats for your constituents. That's what you hold seats for, your constituents. You know, nobody that is serving city council, you all are not doing us a favor. If you feel you're doing us a favor in service, you don't need to be sitting there. You are not doing us a favor. Everybody in here pays taxes. Everybody in here wants fair representation. And if you can't give fair representation with this map and this redistricting to make it fair, so that people in this community will have a fighting chance to fight for change in their community based on the leadership. And if we cannot get to that point, then we as citizens need to seriously revisit how we vote, who we vote for, because when we seat people, it should be them serving and wanting to serve to better the lives of the constituents. I just do not see that happening. I'm extremely disappointed in what I'm seeing. I thank you for the hard work, but we're still not quite there yet. And as I get ready to take my seat, the only thing I have to say is this. We've been at this for over 400 years. It's not fair. It's not fair to the minority people that are sitting here. It's not fair to the people that are supposed to be represented, the underserved, the underprivileged. It's just not fair. It's not fair. And what we absolutely cannot do is tolerate another day, another second, another moment that is not fair to the people who have suffered for hundreds and hundreds of years. And I think everybody in here would agree to one thing, and that is we have had it up to here, and we're just not in the posture of sitting back and taking what people say as gospel and acting as if it's okay. We hear what you say, but your actions and your words are not lining up. It's just not lining up. We hear the chatter, how concerned people are about their constituents, but your actions are not lining up. And if your actions and your words can't line up, then we as voters need to do something about that. But this map right here, yes, it gets us closer, but there's room for better. Everybody keeps asking about the NAACP map that was submitted. This map right here shows us what can be done. People like to say, oh no, it can't be done. If it can't be done, you wouldn't have been able to come back with this map. It can be done. It's a question of whether you want to do it. Whether you want to do it. So all I'm asking is that the voices of the citizens of Georgetown that live in the county seriously be heard. Because it's time out for playing games. It's 2022. It's time out for playing games. And what we will not do is subject ourselves to another form of slavery. That right there, my friends, we will not do. Thank you.
Good evening, Council. My name is Wesley Gibson, speaking for Citizens for Progress. The 509 map Council is considering is better than the map 843A and 777. It boosts the African American vote to 42.9%, but it leaves the white vote at 49.34%. How can we win? Even though the map and the numbers are getting better, we don't want a better map, we want a fair map. The residents of District 4 wants council to adjust the map where we can get the Afro-American vote back to 50%. It's been presented to council on how they can do this. The NAACP map, which is in, it's legal, it's been presented, and it can be done. I hear y'all say that you're not trying to break up precincts, but looking at map 509, Winyard Street is in Winyard, Emmanuel used to all be dream keepers. They're 1 block apart, but Winyard's in District 4, Emmanuel's in District 3. This is crazy. We the people want our district to remain intact, and we want to have a voice on council that's going to speak for us. We're in jeopardy of losing 1 council person and 1 school board member. We only have 3 on the school board members that are black now. We don't need to lose another school board member nor another councilman because we want to have a voice at the table. In closing, District 4 and the people of District 4 are serious and concerned about losing a council person. We would rather lose it at the ballot box than just give it away. And right now, we're giving it away. We're not even fighting. We're fighting people. We fought to vote. We fought to get out of slavery. Now we're going to fight to keep our district intact. This, as presented, is unacceptable. We, the people of District 4, deserve to have a right and a voice at the table. Councilmember, please consider the maps presented to you by the NAACP that have been drawn nationally by people who have done it for 30 years. And I don't know why we're just ignoring it. I think you see it because we got, like Jackie said, we got the map 509. And it looks a lot different than 843A or 777. So I think we can tweak it a little more. Please, y'all done a fine job, everybody. But we can do it. We can do a better job. We don't want a better map. We want a fair map. Thank you.
Good evening, Council. Good evening, Council. My name is Donald Gilliard. I think part of the problem is a lot of us, well, myself, I'm going to speak for myself. I don't exactly know all of the streets that are in this new map, that are in the District 3 and District 4. When I saw it today, earlier, it seems like from District 4, from Front Street, where School Board Member Walker lives, on back this way is in District 3, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct? I'm asking you all did the map. I mean, is that correct?
District 4.
No, he's in 4, but behind his house.
He will be in District 4
Right, I know that.
off of this map.
But right behind his house comes back toward this way, and that's in District 3. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay. So most of the people in Dream Keepers will be in District 3. Am I correct in that assessment? Okay. So when you add the Maryville precinct up, the historic precinct up, the Willowbank precinct up over the Presbyterian Church, Kensington precinct up, now we go to Beck precinct and then go on up toward Greentown. Am I correct? See, I'm trying to see the numbers because I don't see any way they're going to be able to win the district. And so just to say we have a minority influence district, it has to be a district that we have an opportunity to win. I don't see those numbers. I do see those numbers if we were able to bring District 4 down where we're able to take in back to the Dream Keepers precinct. And that really shouldn't be hard to do because Everett already has a part of Maryville. So you all ought to be able to make those numbers up in Maryville and allow the city of Georgetown, the West End, across that bridge, to stay in number 4 and still be balanced with the same numbers. I mean, that's the way I see it. Maryville has enough to do that. So that's what I want to put on the record, and that you all look at that. That way we're able to keep Dream Keepers and back in 4 with a part of Spring Gully, and to give us a fair chance if possible. Thank you.
Again, good evening. To Chairman Morant, County Council, and to Ms. Angela Christian, our wonderful county administrator, that have done a marvelous job. I feel like sending her on vacation after this myself. The work that you have done is unmeasurable. You've done a lot of work, but a lot of the work you've done was also unnecessary. And I say that because 843 maps should have never been presented to the people. It was illegal from the beginning. It was drawn up. It should have never been presented. So here I am. I'm Marvin Neal. I'm the president of Georgetown branch, NAACP number 5520. What we asking for tonight is for District 4 to be within tolerance of 50+1 Black voting age population, and that is consistent with the NAACP mission because we work on behalf of its members and constituents to remove all barriers of racial discrimination through engagements and democratic process, which this is, and the enactment and enforcement of federal, state, and local laws securing civil rights, including laws relating to voting rights. That's what we do, and that's why I'm here tonight. This is about voting rights and making sure that people of color have a right to choose a candidate of their choice. I understand that the map is set up in census blocks, which I neither agree or disagree, because still I don't understand that in some sense. But it's still doable. The NAACP presented a map. The map 777 was never presented. So I'm still confused about why all those maps were not presented to the people. You presented a map that was totally out of the guidelines. But two maps that you have within the guideline you did not present, which bring things into tolerance. We're here today to focus on the affirmative obligation of the County Council to draw fair and nonpartisan redistricting plans as we move to the final stage of this process. We're approaching the third reading, and we understand that Georgetown branch NAACP submitted a fair and balanced map that was totally complied with the Voting Rights Act, Section 2, and the 14th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. Under the U.S. Constitution and Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act, this council must and should balance population among the 7 districts to meet its one person, one vote obligation. So it should. That don't mean move them around to give one district, minority majority, 42%, which is better. That should have been the first map. And put the other districts, 57 and 56, wherever it's at. Me being a member of District 7, I could have jumped and say, hoorah. We will win our district again. But when one black district failed, all black districts failed. The 2020 census results demonstrated that Georgetown experienced significant population shift and growth during the past decade. We know that this growth requires different actions, but it also requires the county council to bring it within compliance with the equal population mandate. Local population may deviate from each other within 10%. This ensures equal electoral power for all voters and equal access to representation for all people throughout Georgetown. Map 509 does not do that. We don't have to have an influence district. We could have a black voting population district, 50+1%, and still have 3 districts, majority, minority. Any map that this council presents that's not at 50%, it creates apportionment issues. Remember, we are in single-member districts, of which black voters are majority if done fairly. Map 843A should not have been presented. It did not meet the 14th Amendment nor the Voting Rights Act requirement. One person, one vote. That does not relate to the totality of District 4 when we presented at 23%. So the word trust still comes back into play. The maps that was presented was recommended by county council, not county government. And I want to make that clear. We could do the 50 plus 1%, so why not is the question. In the last 10 years, well, I'll say the last 20 years, plus 1 or 2, I came back to Georgetown with the intention of working for my community. In that 10 years, the challenges that I met 20 plus 2 or 3 years ago is some of the same challenges that we meet today. We're still losing, or we still don't have, just the basic amenities. Affordable housing, roads that you could drive on without getting a front-end alignment on a monthly basis, lack of drainage, children still putting on hip boots in the West End to get to the school bus, sidewalk safety, children still walking in the streets in Black communities, fire hydrants still not in place. I lost 2 family members within the last 4 years just in house fire. So those things are important to me. And lo and behold, even Black doctors leaving Georgetown. Huge. So, to comply with Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act, it says again, you must create maps that gives us, Black people, an equal opportunity to participate in the electoral process and elect representative of our choice and not minimize our vote as you have done in District 4. I keep repeating that because we have to get up to 50.1 or 50 plus 1 when the opportunity is there. And the opportunity is here. You should not pack, as you've done, Black voters into District 3 and 7 with high Black populations, or by cracking them into District 3 with a population that are too low to provide Black voters with an opportunity to elect a preferred candidate. This is a great concern. And it concerns me because everyone came up here tonight, they spoke on the issue and did not even communicate with each other before coming up here. So it tells a story that the citizens are woke. And Black women can still raise their voice without being called angry Black people. And I think that needs to be considered in all circumstances. Those that understand the challenges that they have went through, but the citizens are woke. The map that the NAACP proposed, with the help of professionals, Mr. John Roof, total professional, one of the best in the business. He had help of the LDF, Legal Defense, NAACP, the ACLU, that set all the requirements and goals. A statement was made once it did not fit in the census block. That's wrong. So what we are asking for is 3 majority minority districts, 50 plus 1. Do not separate these communities as we have done by pushing half of District 4 into District 3 and the other part into District 2. District 7. Correction. we have to consider the voice of the people. And I'd like to also say, as we continue to lead as county councilmen and county councilwomen, statements should not be made when we are in a process trying to make something happen that we are not required to bring this to the public. That's never a good statement. Even if it's true, it shows poor leadership and a lack of empathy and patience in serving as a councilman. Number two, all councilmen should be here tonight. As you have showed up in Waccamaw, they should have been here tonight. It shows the separation. They don't even hear us right now. They might be looking at television, but they don't even hear us. But every county councilman serves the entire county. And that's one of our greatest concerns right now. We need each one of you. If they're not serving the entire county, we need each one of you at least serving the Black community. If we could just get that, we might be able to get one of them to shift. But giving up a seat and a vote is giving up a seat on school board also. So we have to look beyond just our seat of protection. And we don't need to be protecting seats. Need to be one person, one vote. That's what we're looking for. Whether it's Republican or Democrat, that's their choice. But they should have the opportunity to vote for a candidate of their choice. District 4 is still not satisfied with keeping the community of interest. There's no way. So I guess we need to do this again one more time, or how many other times it takes. But I think one more time will get us there. I know we can. And we need leaders that's battle tested. That can take the bruises without attitudes, respond back to the people, and not making those crazy statements. I know you don't want to hear it, but Black women have a voice, and they need to speak loud without hearing, why are you so angry? Why are you so angry? We should have learned a lesson from the last presidency of Barack Obama. And I think an apology is necessary to that young lady. I thank you for your time, but it's bothered me when a Black man tells a Black woman or asks her, why are you so angry? That bothers me. And I'm never comfortable with that. I respect all women, especially Black women, because they've been battle tested. It's time for us to step up to the plate. Black men, thank you for your time. Ms. Christian, and thank you for a job well done. In advance, whatever it comes out to, you have did your job because you did what they told you to do. You're a county government. They are county council. Thank you for your time.
Good evening. My name is Marilyn Hemingway, a citizen of the city of Georgetown and the county. And I just wanted to take the time to reiterate once again what Mr. Neal said and what has been said before, the lack of representation from the Waccamaw Neck and the impact of those not showing up once again to this process. Not only in the court of public opinion, but in court itself, because the way this is leading right now without having 3 majority minority districts is you're setting the county up for a lawsuit. And you're also giving them evidence of intent that if these representatives of majority white areas cannot come here tonight, it shows a pattern whether they want to admit it or not, that race is influencing this. We have asked for fair representation. We've not asked for 100% Black districts. We've also been told that 2 districts allow you to negotiate. That math simply does not add up either. And one of the reasons it does not add up is we have 3 Black representatives here, for whatever reason, cannot convince those 4 other votes to show up at Howard in the county seat to represent the people. Because when you take your oath of office, and I've said this before, you do not take your oath of office to your district. You take the oath of office to the county. And the fact that they are not here tonight shows that they are not interested in the opinions of people beyond their districts. And that's a problem. And I do not know why that if we have 3 seats right now, that you cannot convince those people to show up and represent the entire county that they took an oath of office to. So I want it to be noted and on record that the people sitting here tonight recognize this, that this is a continuing pattern, and this will speak loudly, not only in the court of opinion, but certainly when the DOJ looks at what you're going to vote on. And if it doesn't represent that 50+1, I certainly hope the DOJ takes this pattern of behavior into consideration, because surely they are not seeking fair representation for all in Georgetown County. Thank you very much.
Good evening. My name is Darnell Hunt, and I didn't come here to speak this evening, but after listening, I decided to be heard. It is evident that this process is geared toward disenfranchising the West End. I'm aware, and I know others in this community are aware, that there are partisan forces at work. I took a look at map 509, and I saw how it appeared to be equal with the numbers. But the numbers of equality were just an illusion, because your equality was a little too late. Because what was required was equity. You have guidelines, and your guidelines are clear. I went to your website, and your guidelines said the way this process is supposed to be carried out, but apparently somebody misreading the guidelines, because what you did is you cracked the West End, and we know why that was done, and it shouldn't have been done. There was a resounding theme here this afternoon of fairness. Fairness is an easy word to say, but it's so hard for us to act out. And it appeared that that's what's going on here today. You have gone through this process a few times now. You were elected by the people to serve the people. You are public servants. It appears to me that public servants should go to the people that they are serving and ask them what they want. And then you wouldn't have to spend this much time. It could be one and done. But when you're not working for the people, then you have to come back many times. This process is one we know that has taken much progress backwards, and it seems like this is what's going on here. The voters elect the officials to serve them. In this process, it appears that the officials are electing their voters. That is not the way it's supposed to be. We are supposed to be a republic that operates under democratic principles. In my lifetime, I've learned that we are not a republic, nor do we operate under democratic principles. We give the illusion of doing so, and that must stop. I ask you to go back to the drawing board and do what is right, and to do what is fair, and to do what the people ask for. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Ethel Bellamy, and I actually come and stand this evening to commend the members of County Council for what I know has been a very hard and difficult job for you to do, and the fact that you are still continuing to work on it, so that I offer that commendation to County Council and staff for the work that you've poured into developing a required map for redistricting in our county. I particularly commend the representatives from District 7, 3, and 4, Councilman Morant, Councilman Everett Carolina, and Councilwoman Lily Jean Johnson. Now, I think you're to be commended for opening the opportunity to receive input from the community, and most importantly, responding to the many voices that you have heard in a matter that will have such a huge impact on the county. Not only were you willing to give ear to the concerns of the community, but I think the development of Map 509 clearly shows that you listened and you pressed forward until you could come up with something that addressed the stated needs. Now, I encourage you to continue the effort, the fight, to make those numbers even better. But again, you're to be commended for the good job that you've done. I also appreciate the NAACP and all the others who voiced their concerns in these public feedback sessions, for without their diligence and their persistence, I believe that we may not have had a redistricting map that allows the county to maintain what appears to be 3 fairly strong minority represented districts. This to me shows what can be accomplished when entities work together for the greater good. And I do recognize that the council, you folks have worked very closely with several organizations and people in the community. Now, having said that allows me to segue into my second point, and that is this. With my participating in these input meetings, either in person or virtually, and as a voter in this county, I am personally disappointed in the absence of most other council members during these meetings. The absence leaves me with the impression that there is a lack of interest by some members of council in the overall well-being of Georgetown County. Instead, my perception from the outside looking in is that their interest is in their districts only, or in other words, their own piece of the pie. Now, my expectation for countywide representation is very different. My expectation for countywide representation is to be present and to support community input on matters of importance such as redistricting. I'd like to see us as a county move toward that end. So then, in closing, I again commend the council for hearing the concerns of your constituents, particularly from District 7, 3, and 4, and acting on them with the creation of MAP 509. With all that has been said, and of all of the maps that I have reviewed, and I've studied them, and without changes, and I want to say this carefully, without any changes that would reduce the minority representation as it stands now, I would personally support council selection of MAP 509 as the official redistricting map for Georgetown County. Thank you for this time, and thank you for all you do.
Good evening. My name is Barney Blaine. I'm a member of District 7, live in Choppy community. There has been significant increase in the minority representation in District 4 since I attended the first meeting. But to echo everyone else's sentiment, I believe there is more work to do, and we can increase the numbers in District 4 to have equal minority representation to maintain the 3 minority districts in Georgetown County. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Joan Doré. I live in Pawleys Island, and I came here tonight, and I'm wondering where my county council member is. If I took the time to come here, I think they should too. I'm not an expert on these maps, but I can just see that there's something wrong. It's like it doesn't smell right. When you take the West End, which is such a community, and people work together there and live together, and there's so many organizations within the West End, and to separate them, that just doesn't make sense. They're the most cohesive area in the city of Georgetown. So I think it's not good for anybody in the county, wherever they live or whoever represents them, to take away minority districts. It's not going to be good for anybody in the county. So I hope you'll continue to work. I know you've been working really hard, and I know it's difficult, but there's lots of people who have expertise that want to help, and I think that we could make it so that District 4 has 50+1 and still have District 7 and 3 be able to also have over 50%. Thank you.
We'd like to thank all of those who have voiced their comments tonight. We want to thank you for participating in the process, leaving us your comments, and being a part of citizen engagement. And being a part of this process is invaluable. Thank you for your time. Thank you for being present. Thank you for those folks who are watching us online. I'll leave the final comments. Chairman Moran.
Thank you, Madam Administrator. Just want to echo what you just stated, and again, want to thank you all for coming out this evening, and thank you all for your comments. And I'll just yield to my other council persons. Thank you again.
Again, thank you for participating. We hear you loud and clear. We will go back and revisit all of the map renditions and statistics and come up with a plan and a map that does the best for Georgetown County.
I echo what has been said. I do appreciate your being here and what you say. And we are still continuing to work with the maps. Thank you.
Good night, everybody. Thanks.